Hello, viewers, and a very warm welcome. You're watching India Fights Back with your host, Kriti Mishra. An anti-COVID oral drug developed by the DRDO has been approved by the Drugs Controller General of India for emergency use as an adjunct therapy in moderate to severe coronavirus patients. Clinical trials of the drug showed that it helps in faster recovery of hospitalized patients and reduces supplemental oxygen dependence. The approval of the drug has come at a time when India has been grappling with the coronavirus cases that has stretched the country's healthcare system and infrastructure. The anti-COVID-19 therapeutic application of the drug has been developed by the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, a lab of the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, in collaboration with Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Hyderabad. The work on the drug began in April 2020 during the first wave of the pandemic. And for more on this, I'm joined by Dr. A.K. Singh, Director General, Life Sciences, DRDO Headquarters, and Mr. Salamurthy, former Chief Controller, R&D, Defense Research and Development Organization, and he's also President, Amity Science, Technology and Innovation Foundation. Welcome to Al Sabah Television, gentlemen. And Dr. Singh, coming to you first, take us through the journey of development of this drug, which is 2DG.
2DG, which stands for 2-deoxy-D-glucose. It's a glucose analog. Glucose, which is the major source of energy to the living cells. The story emanates or started about a decade and a half back when 2DG was explored by the scientists at Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences for its application in the therapy of a brain tumor, more particularly the glioblastoma. And the concept or the rationale of using 2DG was the optimization of the radiotherapy in the glioblastoma, or we used it more scientifically saying as a radiosensitizer. And what do I mean by this? I'll just take a few minutes to explain. And for the benefit of the audience, I'll take a very layman example. You know what happens when, let's say, there are two people. One works on the table and the other works on, normal person, and other runs, he is on the run. If we see that both of them would need food, but the person who runs needs more food,
Yes,
as compared to the person who is not so active. So the cells which are cancerous or the cells which are infected by the virus, they are akin to the person who runs. It means they need more food. So 2DG, what happens when it is administered, the cancerous cell or the viral infected cell, it takes in the larger quantity. Why? Because they need more as compared to the normal cell. What happens when they take it more? But 2DG, being the glucose analog, is absorbed as the glucose, but it does not participate in the glycolysis. It means it is not able to provide the energy for the survival of the cell. So it means though they have taken the 2DG, but they are not able to utilize it for the energy, and they feel energy starved. At that time, in case of the tumor therapy, we give the radiotherapy, means external beam radiotherapy, thereby killing the cancerous cell differentially as compared to the normal cell. This was the rationale or the mechanism of action of 2DG. Then I'll come to the COVID later on, but I have introduced that. Then at that time also, Dr. Reddy's lab was our partner. So though 2DG is a generic molecule, it is not a molecule which has been developed by DRDO, it is available. But we explored or we extended its application at that time for the brain tumor. But it had to be imported, or it was being procured at an exorbitant price at that time. To make it available, one of our lab, DRD Gwalior, Defense Research and Development Establishment at Gwalior, they synthesize it with a process. So to say now we have a patent of its synthesis. DRD Gwalior has a patent for its synthesis, and that patent has the TOT has been done to Dr. Reddy's lab, and they are our industry partner. After that, this for tumor therapy, it went to phase 2, phase 3. But after that, it was left to the Reddy's lab, and they kept on exploring it. But DRDO, we did not pursue it with that vigor. After a lull period, now last year when the COVID started and the India was facing the first wave, at that time, the scientists at INMAS, particularly two scientists, Dr. Sudhir Chandna and Dr. Anant Narayan Bhatt, in one of the meetings where I was there, our chairman, Dr. Satish Reddy, was there. They made a presentation, and immediately Dr. Reddy and myself, we decided that we will explore it. So immediately, though it was a lockdown period, then the team was sent to NIV because they had the facility of in vitro culture, because it is a pathogen of level 3 plus. Understood? BSL 3 means level 3, biosafety level 3 is required. So they have a BSL 4, that is the one unique facility in India at NIV Pune. So we carried out some in vitro experiments to see its efficacy, the efficacy of 2DG on SARS-CoV-2 virus. And the results were quite encouraging. The further in vitro experiments were carried out at CCMB, which is a CSIR lab in Hyderabad, and we got very encouraging results.
Okay.
Incited by the results, then we approached the Drug Controller General of India. We got the phase 1 clearance. We already had certain data of 2DG. It was easy for us. So to cut the long story short, then we got the phase 1 trial, phase 2, then phase 2A and 2B, because there was a dose escalation, and then the results were encouraging. Then they gave us the permission to phase 3 clinical trials for 220 patients. And that phase 3 clinical trials were carried out in 27 hospitals across the country. And then the results were collated and they were presented to the Drug Controllers General of India. Then, as you said, they had permitted the usage of 2DG as adjunct therapy in hospital and institutional setup. And that is the story. It is a weeks old story. Now, Dr. Reddy's lab is geared up for provisioning of the 2DG to the hospitals and the institutions. And one paper, this Patanjali, they also published one paper in March by doing the docking studies and molecular simulation studies, where they said that this can be a anti-COVID drug, but the mechanism which they proposed is different, and the mechanism which we propose is different. They said it directly interacts with the virus and kills. Now, as we go ahead, we will use this 2DG in various hospital and institutional setup, and we are confident. Let's see how the situation uncovers about its efficacy. We are confident that it will prove its worth.
Absolutely, sir. So it is important to understand that the work started back in April 2020 with the first onslaught of this pandemic. But moving on, Mr. Selvarmurthy, in the ongoing second COVID-19 wave, a large number of patients are facing oxygen dependency and also need hospitalization. And this development certainly comes as a big breather.
Yes, Kirti, let me first of all compliment the scientists of the DRDO, particularly in the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, for this great contribution. It's a very timely contribution, which will help in a very significant way. I would call it a significant contribution of DRDO in terms of reducing the hospitalization period, the prognosis, facilitating prognosis of the patients, and also reducing the oxygen demand, as you rightly said. DRDO, under the able leadership of Dr. Satish Reddy as chairman, and Dr. A.K. Singh being there as now the Director General, Life Sciences, they have done a remarkable job. This is one of the significant contributions. there are many things which we can talk about. Like, for example, they started with sanitizers, to start with hand sanitizers, material sanitizers. Then they went into environmental sanitizers. Then the personal protective ensemble for the health workers, be it a nurse or be it a doctor, the health workers who are attending on the patients, how should we protect them? The personal protective ensembles were developed and introduced. We introduced ventilator. I have been part of all these journeys since I spent 40 years with Dr. A.K. Singh and others. So the next thing is ventilator. We developed at that time the ventilators. We transferred the technology to Scan-Ray as well as to Pricol. So today it's finding an application for treating the patients. Then the oxygen concentrator. We actually developed that for DRDO, developed for pilots, fighter pilots. When they fly in air, how do you generate on-board oxygen generation, OBOX, where you use the nitrogen filter, you filter out the nitrogen, concentrate the oxygen. So we actually developed in DRDO for oxygen concentrator for fighter pilots as on-board oxygen generation system. So today you are finding the application here for oxygen. Similarly, the oxygen monitors, then hospitals with ICU and everything. We constructed such similar hospital in high altitude for the pilots when they go there. If they develop acute mountain sickness, put them in the oxygen-rich environment. So such technologies, today we are finding applications. Similarly, triage of these COVID patients. How do you classify them into who are the ones immediately they require the application? We used actually in other conditions in the battlefield, triaging the patients who need attention first, second, third. So this is again our experience of DRDO triage came in. Then they have also worked on the herbal medicine, yoga, which can be prophylactic. So if you look at DRDO today, there's a tremendous span of activities, contributions, which are relevant to COVID situation, which have been developed. And this particular 2-deoxy-D-glucose, as you rightly said, the oxygen demand, as well as the recovery, about 2.5 to 3 days hospitalization is reduced. That means it's very significant. The patient load on the hospitals, particularly ICUs, oxygen demand, ventilators, everything gets reduced. So they have done randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies to show that in 220 patients, if it is reduced, the median value comes down by 3 days. It's significant in terms of hospitalization when we don't have enough number of beds and so on. Similarly, oxygen demand is reducing. How does it work? As Dr. A.K. Singh rightly mentioned, see, when a coronavirus infects a cell, because it doesn't have its own cell, it has to go into a cell, and it starts proliferating very fast, multiplying, so that it wants to infect many cells and make it die. So it is proliferating at very fast, like a cancer cell, which is proliferating very fast. Here is a virus which starts replicating very fast. So they need more energy for that multiplication. This is where you switch off the energy mechanism. You cut off the ATP synthesis, both through the oxidative as well as glycolytic pathway, where the ATP, which is required for the survival of the cell, multiplication of the cell, which is arrested when you give 2-deoxy-D-glucose, which is, as he said, it is an analog glucose which can enter the cell, but it cannot participate in the energy providing process, whereas normal glucose can. So this COVID-affected cell being hyperactive, hungry for energy, it takes more of this 2-deoxy-D-glucose, and now it cannot get the energy from that glucose. It's a weaker cell. Now at this time, your immune system, your medical intervention can become very active. So it's a very important adjunct therapy for the COVID patients to improve their prognosis, because you are strengthening your own immune system by minimizing the synthesis and the energy for the COVID affected cells. So that is the process. So I would call it as a very, very significant contribution of DRDO at this point of time. And also rightly, Drug Controller General of India has given it for emergency use, and it's very cost effective. This doesn't require much money because it's just an analog of glucose.
Yes,
so
sir.
That is why it becomes a cost.
So we'll just talk about the how cost effective this technology or this drug is. But before that, Dr. C, we'd like to understand, so how about the application of this drug?
Application, certainly, what we had been discussing as a adjunct therapy, it is being proposed. Actually, the standard of care will go on. We are not saying that it will replace the standard of care, but in the standard of care, if you add the 2DG, then it reduces the oxygen demand and it reduces the hospitalization. One. Number two, I'll take it, this is a drug which is not a kind of a panacea or the Rambaan ke agar ye 2DG if 2DG is there, that it will cure all the COVID. But certainly it will have its niche role, a very vital role in the clinical management of the COVID patients. To tell you, we are talking that it is effective in the moderate to severe. Then people say, what are the contraindications, where it should be used, where it should not be used. Again, for the benefit of the audience, when you go for a war, you carry all kind of arsenal, you carry all kind of armament. You carry small arms, you carry medium arms, you can carry the bigger arms, because you will use the arm as the situation is. So now, by clearance of the 2DG for emergency use as anti-COVID drug, it is addition in the kitty of the clinicians for the clinical management of the COVID.
Let me supplement, Kriti. It is given in the form of a sachet. It's a powder. It's a powder put in sachet, and then you need to mix with water and then drink. Very simple to use. So you just take a glass of water, open the sachet, put it inside, just like drinking glucose water. You just drink this glucose water. It's so easy to use as well. So that is why the ease of use, unlike a capsule to swallow or a tablet, and this is very easy, like a powder, it have to be dissolved in water. And the dose optimization has been done in phase 2B. So which is that for the dosing, what is the optimal dose to take care as an adjunct therapy has also been done on 110 patients, so in almost 11 hospitals. So this is a very big multi-centric trials which have been done in such a short time.
Also, sir, you were talking about this molecule and analog of glucose. It is easy to assume that it will be very easily produced and it will be made available in plenty in the country, Mr. Selvamurthy?
Yes, it will be Dr. Reddy's laboratory. We have transferred this technology even for the other application, cancer application, as a radio sensitizer 10 years ago. So they have already made the process. They have put the plants at that time itself for scaling up. And then the process which we have developed at our DRD, Gwalior laboratory of DRDO. And now that has already been, manufacturing facilities there. So they can just scale it up. We can actually export to the other countries. Once we are now putting into application here, there is a tremendous scope for exporting to all the countries which require this support. If you can imagine, globally, if we can reduce 3 days hospitalization period, reduce the oxygen demand, tremendous impact in terms of the medical management of this corona patients, COVID patients. So I feel this is a very significant development from our country, particularly DRDO and INMAS.
Dr. Singh, what about the efficacy results? What are the efficacy trends that you've observed?
Actually, the efficacy trends in 220 patients, we have found two things. That it reduces the oxygen dependence by 50% as compared to the standard of care. And number two, which leads to the reduced period of hospitalization. On these 2 points, the DCGI has given its emergency use permission. And as Dr. Selvamurthy is saying, because at this time, reduction in the hospitalization and reduction in the oxygen dependency, if you see, it's a one of the major aspects in reducing the load burden on the system, number one, and also inculcating the confidence in the patient. and the patient getting better in a lesser time. So it means it shows its effectivity and the efficacy. We are talking of effectivity. It is effectiveness what I am talking. Efficacy will come out when we do it in the larger population, because effectiveness and efficacy are two things. We are talking of the effectiveness now. Efficacy will come when we do it in the large patients, large number of patients, and it will further get refined. We will get even more indications that where it works better. It is just now, it is the first positive, or it is the, I should say, the end of the beginning, because now we have got the permission. Now as we go to the larger patients, I think let's see that how the things unfold, and I'm quite sure, confident that it will find its place and role in the COVID management.
Let's hope for that, sir. But Mr. Selvamurthy, there are also questions whether this drug would be effective on different variants of this virus. What is your take?
See, every variant, if you really look at this virus, it acts like any the variant which you have. It affects first the cell, and that starts multiplying, proliferating, whether you take any variant. So that is where any variant getting into the cell, and if you switch off the energy mechanism for their survival, then you can stop the multiplication, synthesis. And that is what is being done. So it will work on every variant, in my opinion, because the basic rationale is switch off the powerhouse. So once you switch off the powerhouse to the cell which has been afflicted with coronavirus, that is, you cut off the supply of energy. Any variant is going to work in that mechanism. So both in the glycolytic pathway as well as oxidative pathway of generating energy, ATP, that is switched off. So any variant cannot tolerate that kind of energy-less situation. So I'm confident that this will work for helping in the medical management of any variant of corona-affected patients. And in terms of efficacy, what A.K. Singh rightly said, the first is symptoms, clinical symptoms like fever, cough, and so first you look at the clinical prognosis, which is better in these patients. What is when you talk about the how do you assess whether it is working? That is first parameter is the clinical parameters. The second is hospitalization duration. Randomly you see both in control group as well as in experimental group, how many days was the hospitalization of these patients. So if your median value comes down by 3 days, the hospitalization is reduced. That's again a very great benefit you give. Then similarly, the oxygen demand. Oxygen demand, why does it go? Because when the oxygenation of hemoglobin, which is SpO2, measured as SpO2, when it goes below 90, then you need to support. So the oxygen, when you reduce that, that's also a big, the important contribution in terms of managing the patients without oxygen, with the oxygen available with their own breathing. So these are all the support. So the prognosis of the patients and the hospitalization period is reduced, oxygen utilization is reduced, and there's the better clinical prognosis, which have been seen in phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, as Dr. A.K. Singh mentioned. Now we should have in thousands. Once you start doing it in many hospitals, this is also being done as adjunct therapy in addition to the other conventional medical management. This will also be done on these. So we will look at the prognosis on the control group, which will be on the routine medical management, and supplemented with this 2-deoxy-D-glucose. What all have been benefits which have been accrued, all that will come up subsequently when it's being used.
Absolutely. So time for closing comments from both my guests. Dr. Singh, it is expected to save lives with the mechanism of operation of this drug in the infected cells. What is your closing comments, sir?
I'll say because, the whole world, including India, we are passing through very unprecedented, unimaginable times. The scale, the uncertainty. I think I define the times as the uncertainty, because nothing is certain. And at that time, we need anything and everything, whether small or big. And I want to place on record, because I come from DRDO, I think DRDO had shown that how we can utilize the knowledge which we generate, the knowledge which is available, the technology which we generate, how we can deploy it in a shortest period of time for the nation, for the situation which is, or the area which is not our main domain. Because we have the training, we have the capability of tweaking the technologies, extending the technologies, utilizing the technologies for any situation. And we have shown it to the India, and more than in the words, at what Dr. Selvamurthy said, right from the sanitizer to the hospitals, to the oxygen generation plant, to the mobile BSL-3 facilities, to the PPEs, to the testing of the PPEs, to the making of the masks, testing of the masks, what not. And I think we are with our people, and we will do our best to provide more and more technology solutions. And I think at the end, I will appeal to all my Indian citizens that let's follow the guidance and the advice of the experts, the advice of the government in letter and the spirit very thoroughly, so that we all combinedly can fight this pandemic out and we emerge as the winner. So because we have a long way to go and we cannot be complacent, and let's follow the instructions very carefully and faithfully. All the best. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. We have to follow the COVID appropriate behavior and also rely on the medical advice. Mr. Selvamurthy, your closing comments.
Homo sapiens have tremendous resilience, particularly Indian intellect. You can find any grand challenge. You can face any grand challenge. Our scientists, doctors, paramedics, we have the determination, we have the conviction. So we will come successfully in combating this second wave, and let us prevent the third wave happening, and for which, as you rightly said, the government has made great initiatives, but we must adhere to all those norms which have been set up. This particular drug, I would appeal 2-deoxy-D-glucose. Let it be tried in all hospitals. Let that be an adjunct which is being used in other. And let us, with open mind, let us give a bigger population studies. So that is the appeal I would like to make to medics, paramedics, hospitals, and also the Indian Council of Medical Research and its institutions to go full swing, so that this will benefit. Then this model can be replicated in other countries. So that is my hope, that every hospital will take this, adopt this, and give a try. And then certainly they will find the beneficial effect. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So very important points made by both our guests. On that note, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all we have for you in this edition of India Fights Back. But before that, let me remind you once again to stay safe from the coronavirus pandemic. Remember to wear a face mask and wash your hands and face regularly, and ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you're stepping outside. These simple precautions are all it takes to defeat this pandemic. Take good care and goodbye.